Fine. So let's look at the concept of object identification. Right. So for that, what I'll do is that I'll make a new Excel file. Okay, and I will call this as objects. Okay, and I'll open this. Right. So basically, I told you that everything in the browser, right? Like if I go to any website, let's say I go to timesofindia.com, right? If I go to the page source, Selenium works on the page source. So when you're working on the page source, you need to identify the tags and all everything corresponding to what you see on the page. Okay, now technically what you see on the page is known as an object. In automation, everything is an object. I am telling you that in a browser, okay, everything, whatever is there in the browser is an object. Okay, technically it's known as an object in automation language. For example, a link is an object, a button is an object, image is an object. Okay, so what are the different types of objects you have on a web page? You need to understand this first, right? So the objects are, sorry, the objects can be, there can be a link, okay, or hold on, there can be a text field, there can be a button, fine, then there can be a radio button, there can be a check, I'm sorry guys, there can be a checkbox, right, fine, right, then there can be a link. Guys, just a minute, I'll just remove this. Yeah, there can be a link, right? Then is my voice breaking, guys? So there can be a image, right? What else can be there on a web page? What all do you see? You see a drop down. Fine. So majorly these are the objects on a web page which you generally identify. Okay. So out here, these objects, they have a certain tag name. Every object has a tag name and it's got set of mandatory attributes. Guys, what's happening? Just a minute, this thing is, sorry, like mandatory attributes and set of optional attributes. No, I have, thank you, it's my magic jack, somebody was calling on it and I switched it off, right? So objects, tag name, mandatory attributes and optional attributes. Okay, these are the 4 columns. Every object has a tag name, mandatory and optional attributes. Now in your Firefox, install a plugin known as Firebug. Right, I'll talk about Chrome and IE in some time. Let's talk about Firefox first. Go to Google and just type Firebug Firefox. Okay, go to the first link and install it from here. Add to Firefox. If you have an older version of Firefox, you can scroll down and you can install the Firebug for your particular version. Okay, you click on install button, fine, and you will get the message Firebug has been installed successfully. Okay, now you can restart your PC, no, sorry, restart your browser. Fine. Or in case like in my case you directly have it over here, you don't need to restart. You increase the font size, just a minute. So you will see an icon over here. This is the Firebug icon. Okay, so you move your mouse anywhere on the page. Okay, you click on this arrow icon. Right, if I click on this arrow icon and move my mouse anywhere on the page, it will show me the source code of that particular area in the HTML tab. Right, suppose I go to gmail.com. Okay, right, so when you have to enter your user ID on Gmail, so you get this user ID field. If I investigate the user ID field in Firebug, I will get the source code of the user ID field. Okay, right, now as I told you, everything, like these are the various objects: text field, button, radio button. So let's talk about these objects for a little while, and then we will continue with the locators present in Selenium. So for a text field, generally for a text field, or all the times, not generally, all the times for the text field, the tag name is input. For example, for the Gmail text field, the tag name is input. Okay, yeah, I am recording it. So the tag name is input for all the text fields. Similarly for a button, this is the next button, right? For the button also, every time the tag name is input. Okay, so button also has the input tag name. Radio button and checkbox also have the tag name input, like I know from my experience. But the difference is there will be an attribute known as type. Okay, most of the cases, in the case of text field, the type is equal to text. In case of buttons, the type can be equals to submit, or sometimes it is also type is button. In case of radio buttons, the type attribute is equal to radio, and for a checkbox, type is checkbox. For example, in this case, the type is different in case of Gmail. Okay, the type attribute is email, but generally it is text. Okay, in case of a button over here, next button, you will see the type attribute is submit. Okay, right? In case of a link, okay, like for example, this is the link create account. The tag name is always anchor. Most of you must be knowing this anchor tag in HTML, right? So the tag name is always anchor, and there is always the attribute known as href, which point towards the URL which will open when you click on this link. Okay, right, it's a mandatory attribute. So for a link, the tag name is input and the mandatory attribute is href, and it points towards the URL which will open when you click on the link. For an image, for example, this is the Google image. On the top you see the Google image, right? Okay, it's not an image tag, hold on. In most of the cases it is there. Or hold on, let me go to some other website, like say timesofindia.com, or yeah, over here if I move my mouse, you see that this image hedge max and gold silver contracts, right? This is an image. The tag name for the image is img, and there is always an attribute known as source which points towards the URL from which the image loads. If I copy this URL and paste it in the browser, you will see the image. This image is actually loading from this particular URL. Okay, so the image attribute, image is the tag name and the mandatory attribute is source. In case of a drop down, okay, like in this website there can be a drop down. Just a minute. Is it the HTML drop down? Just a minute. No, this is not the HTML drop down. Okay, anyways, in case of an HTML drop down, okay, I'll just tell you that the tag name is select. There is no mandatory attribute. Okay, there is no mandatory attribute for a drop down. Other than that, there are things known as web tables, there are things known as frames, JavaScript pop-ups. Okay, I will not talk about them right now. Okay, these are not generally visible to the human eye, right? These are the commonly used objects. Okay, then these are the tag names and attributes, mandatory attributes. Now what do you mean by optional attributes? Okay, optional attributes most commonly are ID, name or class. You can find, or you might find or you might not find these attributes with these objects. These are not mandatory. They can or they might not be present. For example, in this gmail.com, right, if I look at this email text field, it's got an ID, it's got a name, but no class attribute. Okay, so ID and name, they can uniquely identify the object, not the class. The class cannot uniquely identify, but generally if an object has got an ID or a name, then it's supposed to be unique, and it becomes really easy to identify that object or that element very easily with Selenium. But if it's not having an ID or a name, then you have to tweak a little bit, right? So I'll talk about that. Okay, so the main point over here is you use the combination of these tag name, mandatory and optional attributes to identify the objects. Okay, right. Now how do you write the code? How do you identify? For example, I want to identify this text field with this ID email and type my name inside it. Okay, so in Selenium, if you go and look at the the official documentation, the Javadocs for Selenium. Okay, look, first of all guys, you don't need to go to seleniumhq.org again and again. You can include the Javadocs in Eclipse. There is no need. Okay, you right click on, you go to this Javadoc link and copy this URL. Okay, copy this URL, open Eclipse, right click on your project. Okay, go to the properties. Hold on, Nizamuddin, you will come to know, just be with me, you will come to know how you identify objects. Okay, right now I'm including the Javadocs in my project. Yes, right click, go to the properties and go to Java build path. Okay, here are all the jars which you had added, the Selenium jars. Right, in this you will have a jar file, the main jar file, Selenium Java 2.49.jar. Okay, expand it, you will see the Javadoc location. Okay, right now it is none. Edit it and paste the URL of Javadocs. The URL which you had copied from here, just paste it and remove index.html from the end. Okay, please remove index.html. You can validate it. It will validate location likely valid. Okay, so package list and index.html have been found. So click on OK and click on OK and click on OK, and that's it. Now suppose you move your mouse over WebDriver. So this will give you the description of the WebDriver interface. Okay, if you move your mouse over Internet Explorer driver, it will give you a description. If I write over here driver dot, it gives you all the functions. If I click on any function, it will give me the description of that driver function. For example, the function get title, it returns the title of the current page. Okay, if in the description, if I click on any of the link, for example, if I click on this link, then the Javadocs will open within Eclipse. You can switch over to the frames view. This is the frames view. You can switch it over to frames view and have a look at the recording. You will understand. Okay, so don't pressurize your mind, but you have an idea in the mind that they can be opened in Eclipse as well. No need to go to the website, right? So now, how do you identify the object? In the WebDriver interface, okay, WebDriver interface, there is a function known as, hold on, find element. It finds an element, find element. Okay, so you write over here in Eclipse driver dot find element. You want to find an element on the page, find an object on the page, but with which criteria? The find element function takes in the reference of the by class. By what? Okay, by class, as I told you, it has got various locator strategies. For example, ID. It's static in nature. As I told you, static things can be called directly with the class name. Okay, right? And in the WebDriver interface, okay, inside the find element function, you need to specify, you need to pass over the parameter of the by class, that is by which criteria you need to find the element. So you need to write like this, that is, sorry, by dot, everything in by class is static, so you can directly access it with the class name. I'll say that I want to find my element by the ID, because my Gmail page, the user ID field has an ID email. Okay, so you copy this ID and you can just paste over here, driver.find element by the ID email. So this will go and find the email. This command, I switched it off, I don't know why it's, sorry, this will find the element on the page with the ID email. And find element function, what it does, it finds the element on the page. Fine, that's okay. After finding, what will it do? Right, if you look at the documentation, the find element function returns you the reference of web element interface. Now web element is another interface in Selenium. This interface has got many functions. Okay, or this interface, it represents a generic element on a page. Okay, I told you in the beginning that everything on a web page is an object. A link is an object, a button is an object. Okay, object is a generic name in automation. In Selenium, object is equal to web element. Okay, we also call it web element. A web element can be a button, it can be a link, it can be a anything. Whatever we talked about over here in object column, everything is actually a web element. And this interface web element, it has generic functions which you would want to fire on a web element. For example, click on a web element. Okay, get the location of the web element, get the size, get the text. Okay, is it enabled? Is it displayed on the page? Is it selected? Okay, send keys will type into it. Right. So there are various functions. Clear will clear the value of a text field. Okay. So when you write driver.find element, it returns you the reference of web element interface. I'll name it web element, say email ID is equal to this. Import the web element interface. You need to import everything. Okay, right. So this will give you the reference of this interface, and with this you can fire the command, say email ID dot send keys is the function which will type into the email field. I'll type up, say, my name Ashish, and when I run this script, so this will simply open Chrome and type in Ashish. Right. Look, there is one thing to note over here. I identified my object in Firefox, and when I executed this script, it worked fine on Chrome. Okay, I had selected the browser as Chrome. The catch is that the page source remains the same across all the browsers, as I told you yesterday. This page source is the same. Okay, right. In Chrome, like I talked about Firefox, right? Firefox, you can use Firebug and identify the objects. Okay, in Chrome, you cannot do that. Hold on, let me run this script. In Chrome, you don't have Firebug, but how do you identify? Suppose I don't want to use Firefox, I want to use Chrome to identify my objects. So in Chrome, you have got Chrome Inspector. It is inbuilt. Suppose I want to analyze this username field. You right click on this field in Chrome and select inspect. Okay, and you will be able to, this is this window which will open. There will be an arrow on the top. You move your arrow anywhere on the element and that element will get highlighted. Okay, right. So this is how you investigate in Chrome. Right. Now moving ahead. Just a minute. This is very easy. We found it with the ID. Right. Similarly, it depends. If there are many, the question is being asked is that what if your company is not, or what if your project is not supporting Firefox? You can use Chrome. You can inspect the elements on the Chrome. Okay. At times this happens. Fine. Now, the first easy way to identify was using ID. ID is email. Now another thing, what if there are two elements on the page with the same ID? Okay, right. No, Firebug is not in the Chrome, Kamal, but you can actually use is there, you can use what do you say, Chrome Inspector, as I told you. You can use Chrome Inspector. There is no quick thing, you have to do it this way only. There is no quick thing, brother. So that's the thing. You can use Chrome Inspector in Chrome. Okay, so now what if there are two objects on the page with the same ID, or there are many? Generally this should not happen. Okay, ID should not be same, and it doesn't happen. In mobile apps, I have seen, like if you test mobile apps with Appium, okay, I am coming over to I in some time, right? Just hold on. In mobile apps, you have got elements with the same ID. It happens a lot of times, but generally in websites this should not happen, right? To um, but what if it happens? Then you need to talk to the developer and tell him that it's not correct, right? So what we do is that we have this thing. Hold on. Suppose we have two elements on this is my web page. Suppose there are three elements on the page with the same ID. Okay, and they are at this location. When Selenium scans the page, it scans the page from top left to top right, like this. Okay, when Selenium scans the page, it scans the page from top left side to top right side. Okay, it starts from here and it ends over here. Now if you look at the documentation, fine, the find element function in the WebDriver interface says that finds the first web element. So what will it do is that it will, when it scans the page, as soon as it gets the first web element, which is this one, it will use it. This will, the second and third will be ignored. What if I want to use the third one or the second one? We will talk about that later on, but right now just keep in the mind find element will use the first element. Okay, right? And you can also identify the same field by the name. The name is email. Okay, so name is also unique generally. So you can write in the code over here, instead of by ID, you can also write by. See that name is also one of the locators. You can identify it by the name. And when you run it, okay, Kamal, I'll come over to index and all. It's not directly used. Index is not directly used. So you will be able to work with it as well. Now what if the object is not having any ID or it is not having any name? Then things get a little complex and you use something known as Xpaths. Okay, so there are various locator strategies. One of them is Xpath. Now what is an Xpath? Okay, technically Xpath, like for example, every person has a name. A name uniquely identifies you. Similarly, every element on a web page has got an Xpath, and Xpath will uniquely identify that element. And there are two types of Xpaths: partial Xpaths and complete Xpaths. This is also known as absolute Xpath. For example, I always give this example. If you look at the text over here, one account, all of Google, I want to get the text out of this. This is one account, all of Google. I can see in the page source. Okay, right? Oh, hold on. I'll come over to it, Lakshmikant. Just a minute. Right. So this is one account, all of Google. Right. So if you want to extract it, then this is the h1 tag. H1 tag, it's got no attribute, nothing. There is no ID or something. It starts over here, it ends over here. So how do I identify it? So over here we need to use Xpath. And how do we make the Xpath? Look at the page source. The page source starts from the root HTML over here, and it goes till the h1 tag. Inside the h1 tag there are many tags, and you keep on traversing, you will see the h1 tag. So let's traverse the tags. Okay, let's traverse the tags. The first tag which I have over here, I'll write it out in the URL. It is the HTML tag. Okay, right. Inside the HTML tag there are two tags, head and body. I am interested in the body tag because my h1 tag lies somewhere inside the body tag. So inside the HTML tag I have the body tag. Okay, right. Now inside the body tag, this is the division tag, and there are many other tags. I am interested in this division tag, right? So inside the body tag there is a division tag. Inside this division tag there are three division tags parallel to each other. Okay, there are three division tags inside this division which are parallel to each other. I want the the second division tag because my h1 is in the second one. So I will write over here slash div2 like this. Okay, right, this is the second one. Inside the second one again there are two tags parallel to each other. Okay, right, these both division tags are parallel to each other. I want the first one, and inside the first one I have the h1 tag. So I'll write over here slash div1 slash h1. So this becomes my complete XPath. Okay, this becomes my complete XPath. If I write over here say web element heading equals to driver dot find element by the XPath, and I'll give the complete XPath, I will be able to find the heading. Okay, and then hold on, just a minute. I think I should be using like this. Generally I don't make it manually, right? I only copy paste it. So okay, right, the slash has to be this one, right? So now I want to get the text of the heading. You can write heading dot, inside a web element there is a function known as get text. Okay, with no, complete XPath doesn't start with the double slash, Mohammed. Right. Oh, yeah, Sam, tell me. Heading dot get text. That's only after installation of a plugin. I'm coming over to that plugin in 5 minutes. Okay, otherwise you will not have. You see that? There is no option over here, right? So if I run this code, you will see that it runs and it prints the text. But there is no need, as I was telling, there's no need to calculate this XPath yourself. There are tools available, especially in Firefox. Okay, in Firefox there is a tool available known as Firepath, which is installed on top of Firebug. Make sure Firebug is installed in your machine. Okay, then go to Google and type Firebug Firepath. Okay, and you can get the first link. Go to the first link and add it to the Firefox. Okay, and this will install this in Firefox. Right, I'll do it and install it. Your Firefox will restart, and hold on. When you open Firebug now, in Firebug you will have the Firepath tab in the end. Okay, in the drop down over here, select the option generate absolute XPath. Okay, make sure you check this. And now if I go to Gmail page, you will see that if you look at the email ID field or something, you will get the complete XPath from here, or right, or if you look at the text, you will get the complete XPath over here. Okay, generally writing 1 over here is not mandatory. If you don't write it, by default it is 1 for the parallel tags. Okay, it will work. But if you want to go in the second parallel tag or third parallel tag, then you have to write the number. We'll do it, we'll work on it, you'll come to know as we proceed with the course. Okay. Yes, XPath remains the same for all the types of browsers, right? Because the page source remains the same. There is hardly, like, there are very few websites which open differently in different browsers. If this website was opening in differently across different browsers, then there would have been a problem. Okay, right? And we refrain ourselves from using the complete XPaths. Right, hold on, I'm coming over to Chrome and IE. Just give me 5 minutes. Okay, so in complete XPaths, the problem is, suppose I take the complete XPath for this email ID field. I get this XPath. It's a big one, right? Fine, this is the complete XPath. Now what if the application changes? Some tag gets added over here. Then you will have to open up your code and change the XPath everywhere, and that will create a problem. Although these XPaths, complete XPath is very accurate. It starts from the root of the page, goes till the document or the element. But if something changes on the page, it gives a problem. That is why we use a partial XPath. Okay, we can use complete XPath when nothing works. At times complete XPath works, right? But we prefer using partial XPath. Okay, how does partial XPath works? Fine, if you uncheck the option over here, generate absolute XPath, you will start getting partial XPath. For example, I'll tell you before I calculate it. A partial XPath always starts from a double slash. Okay, it will always start from this. Okay, if I write double slash A, this is an XPath which is representing a partial XPath which represents all links on the page. If I write double slash input, it represents all the input tags on the page. Okay, right. If I write a double slash star, this represents all elements on a page, whether it is a link, whether it is a button, whether it is a radio button, everything. Okay, if I use Firebug now, and in Firebug, if I select in Firepath, if I don't select the absolute XPath and I investigate my user ID field, hold on, I get an XPath like this. Ignore the dot, don't take the dot. Okay, just take this. It says that double slash star. Double slash star means all the elements on the page. That is, out of all the elements on the page, get me an element with the ID email. Okay, or to give you a better example, just a minute, like on the Selenium website, if I look at this link, previous releases, right? If I look at this link, this is the partial XPath. How is it made? Right, what Firebug does is it looks at this link. It finds that this link has no ID. So it jumps one above this link into the li tag. Okay, this link in the Xpath, you can relate it over here, anchor tag. This li tag is the second tag under this ul tag. It's got no ID. So it takes the li tag in the Xpath. This li tag is the second tag. So in the bracket, it has written 2 under the ul tag. This ul tag also has got no ID. Okay, so it jumps one above into this li tag. Okay, this is the li tag, which has again got no ID, so it goes to this ul tag, and finally in this ul tag it finds an ID and it starts building the Xpath from this ul tag, that there is a ul tag star, or you can give the tag name as well, okay, with this ID, and you can continue forward. This is how it makes the Xpath. Did you understand my point? How if is there anyone who is not able to understand? I'll not move ahead from here because it's too much, I guess, for today, right? So yeah, /* means any element on the page. Look, I wrote over here /* means all the elements on the page. Okay, a partial Xpath will always start from a /. Okay, /* means all the elements on the page. / anchor tag, it represents all the links on the page. / input tag, it will represent all the input tags on the page. When I found the ID, when I found the Xpath of the Gmail page, okay, this is the Gmail page. When I looked at the Xpath of the user ID field, it gave me this Xpath. Okay, /* ID is email. Okay, that is out of all the elements on the page, get me the element with the ID email. You can be more precise. You can write / input with ID equals to email. That means out of all the input tags on the page, get me the element with the ID email. Get me the input tag with the ID email. In this case, wherein I found the Xpath for this particular element, previous releases, okay, it is not able to get the ID of this anchor tag. So it keeps on traversing above and it finds the ID of this ul tag over here, and it starts from the ul tag. You can also write, instead of star, you can write the tag name ul. That is, out of all the ul tags on the page, get me the tag with the ID nav. So it will get this ul tag. Under this, go to the li tag. So it will go to the li tag. Under the li tag, go to the ul one. This is the ul one. Then in the ul tag, the second li tag, okay, which is this one, and then the anchor tag. So this is how you get the Xpath for this link. Okay, now this is better than partial Xpath, because if I would have made the partial Xpath, I would have started from the base, the root. Okay, so you can get the Xpath like this. In case of Chrome, right, if I talk about Chrome, in Chrome you can right click on the element, you can inspect the page. Like if I inspect this email ID field, it gets highlighted over here, right? You can right click on it and you will get the option copy Xpath. In Chrome it is inbuilt. Chrome gives it like this, partial Xpath, copy Xpath, and you can get the Xpath in Chrome like this very easily. Only thing is, instead of double quotes, you have to put single quotes. Okay, in case of I, I has got I inspector tool, right? If I hit, hold on, F12, this inspector tool comes up, F12, and if you move your mouse over anything, you will get the page source of that element. Okay, but there is nothing to actually get the XPath. I never find in IE, I just find in Firefox or Chrome, and the same thing works in IE. Okay, right, because the page source is the same, you don't need to worry. Alright, fine. So this is what a complete or a partial XPath is. Right. If I again go to the Gmail page, if I try to view the partial XPath for this text, one account all of Google, it doesn't give me the partial XPath, it gives me the complete XPath. Even though I have not checked this checkbox generate absolute or complete XPath, it still gives me the complete XPath because it's not able to find any tag between the h1 tag and the HTML tag with any ID. So it by default gives you the partial XPath in this case. Sorry, the complete XPath in this case. Yeah. No, you can generate your custom XPaths and all. I will talk about them in the next class. Okay. So basically this is how you work. You will be writing a lot of commands, driver.find element, by the ID, by XPath, and a lot of things. Okay, right.